On January 1, 1978, Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 747 named Emperor Ashoka, prepared for departure from Mumbai's bustling international airport. The aircraft gleamed under the airport lights, a symbol of modern aviation and national pride, ready to embark on its journey to Dubai. For the 213 people on board, passengers and crew alike, it was supposed to be a routine flight, a simple hop across the Arabian Sea to the United Arab Emirates. Families, business travelers, and airline staff settled in, expecting nothing more than a few hours in the air. The night was clear and calm, with the city lights of Mumbai twinkling below, as the massive jet climbed steadily into the sky. The engines hummed, and the world outside faded into darkness, promising a smooth and uneventful journey. Inside the cabin, flight attendants moved efficiently, preparing for in-flight service. In the cockpit, the experienced crew ran through their checklists, communicating calmly and professionally. Everything appeared perfectly normal, just another night in the skies. But then, just 101 seconds after takeoff, the routine was shattered. Without warning, the aircraft began a sudden steep descent. Warning lights flashed in the cockpit, and confusion gripped both crew and controllers. The jet veered sharply off course, its nose pointing down toward the dark waters of the Arabian Sea. In the cockpit, the pilots struggled desperately to regain control, but the situation deteriorated rapidly. In the control tower, air traffic controllers watched in disbelief as the radar blip representing Flight 171 dropped alarmingly fast. There was no distress call, no communication, just a chilling silence as the plane vanished from their screens. Moments later, the aircraft plunged into the sea, breaking apart instantly just 3 kilometers off the coast of Bandra. The impact was catastrophic, leaving no chance for survival. Rescue teams rushed to the scene at first light, but all they found was floating debris and shattered wreckage. The loss was total. There were no survivors among the 213 souls on board. News of the disaster sent shockwaves across India and the world. The crash quickly became one of the country's worst aviation tragedies, leaving families and a nation in mourning. In the aftermath, investigators faced a daunting task. Sifting through the wreckage, they uncovered a complex chain of events: mechanical failure, possible human error, and unanswered questions that would haunt the investigation for years. How could a routine flight end in such sudden, devastating tragedy? What really went wrong that night, and could it have been prevented? The mystery of Flight 171 lingers, a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictability of the skies. In the cockpit of Flight 171 sat Captain Madan Lal Kukar, a highly respected aviator with nearly 18,000 flight hours to his name. His career spanned decades, and he was known for his calm demeanor and sharp decision-making under pressure. Supporting him were First Officer Indu Vermani, a skilled pilot in her own right, and Flight Engineer Alfredo Faria, whose technical expertise was crucial for the complex systems of the Boeing 747. Together, this trio formed a cockpit team that was both experienced and cohesive, trusted by their peers and passengers alike. Their training had prepared them for every conceivable emergency, and they were well versed in the protocols that kept passengers safe at 35,000 feet. Each pre-flight checklist, every safety briefing, was a testament to their professionalism and dedication. On board, the passengers represented a vibrant cross-section of society: expatriate workers returning home, business travelers chasing opportunities, tourists eager for adventure, and families reuniting after long separations. Each person carried hopes, plans, and dreams, all brought together by the shared journey on Flight 171. The flight attendants, led by the chief purser, were more than just providers of comfort. Trained rigorously in both hospitality and emergency procedures, they stood ready to respond to any crisis, ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone on board. For Air India, this route was a flagship operation, flown by their prestigious 747 fleet, a symbol of national pride and technological achievement. The Emperor Ashoka, as this aircraft was named, embodied the airline's commitment to excellence and reliability. The loss of Emperor Ashoka was not just a tragedy for the airline, but a profound blow to the nation's confidence in its aviation industry. It sent shockwaves through the company and the country, raising questions that demanded answers. Hundreds of families were left devastated, their lives forever altered by the sudden loss of loved ones. The grief was palpable, echoing through airport terminals and across continents as news of the disaster spread. The disaster raised urgent questions about safety, reliability, and the true human cost of air travel. Investigators and officials worked tirelessly, determined to uncover the causes and prevent such a tragedy from happening again. Each person on board had a unique story, a destination they were eager to reach, loved ones waiting, or new beginnings on the horizon. In an instant, those stories were cut short, their journeys ending abruptly that fateful night. The tragedy was not just mechanical or technical, it was deeply human, touching the lives of families, friends, and communities around the world. The investigation would soon focus on what happened in those final moments, piecing together clues from the wreckage and the cockpit voice recorder, searching for answers amid the devastation. How could such an experienced crew, flying a modern and well-maintained aircraft, meet such a tragic fate? The world waited anxiously for answers, hoping that the lessons learned would make the skies safer for all. The takeoff from Mumbai was, by all accounts, completely routine. The massive Boeing 747 lifted gracefully from the runway, its engines roaring as it climbed into the night sky. Passengers settled in, unaware that anything was amiss, and the crew followed their well-practiced procedures, expecting an uneventful flight ahead. But then, without warning, the captain's attitude director indicator, commonly known as the ADI, began to malfunction. This crucial instrument, which displays the aircraft's orientation relative to the horizon, is a pilot's primary reference for keeping the plane level, especially at night or in poor visibility. The ADI falsely indicated a right bank, tricking Captain Kukar into believing the aircraft was tilting dangerously. Trusting his instruments, he instinctively corrected for a problem that, in reality, did not exist. Unbeknownst to him, the aircraft was actually flying straight and level, but his corrective actions, based on faulty information, gently nudged the jet into a slow, imperceptible left turn, a turn that neither he nor the passengers could feel. The first officer's ADI was functioning correctly, showing that the plane was level. Yet, uncertainty crept in. He noticed the discrepancy, but hesitated, only partially voicing his concern to the captain. The pressure of cockpit hierarchy and the confusion of conflicting instruments made him doubt his own judgment. The flight engineer, monitoring his own set of instruments, also noticed irregularities. However, he too remained silent, perhaps assuming the captain and first officer would resolve the issue, or not wanting to overstep his role. In that tense silence, no one directly challenged the captain's actions. This breakdown in communication, a critical lapse in cockpit resource management, would prove fatal. As the jet continued to bank left, the nose began to drop. The situation quickly escalated, and the aircraft entered a steep, unrecoverable dive, leaving the crew with only seconds to react. The ground proximity warning system blared urgently, its alarms echoing through the cockpit. But at such a low altitude, there was no time left for recovery. In a matter of just 101 seconds from the first sign of trouble, the aircraft spiraled out of control and plunged into the sea below. All 213 souls on board perished instantly, leaving families and a nation in shock and mourning. The investigation that followed focused on two haunting questions. Why did the ADI fail, and why couldn't the experienced crew break the deadly chain of errors that led to disaster? The tragedy exposed the insidious dangers of spatial disorientation, a condition where pilots lose their sense of direction, and highlighted the critical importance of assertive, open communication among crew members, regardless of rank. The silence in the cockpit during those final moments would haunt investigators for years, serving as a stark reminder of the consequences of unspoken doubts. How could such experienced aviators, trained for every emergency, be led so fatally astray by a single faulty instrument and a momentary lapse in teamwork? The answer lay in a tragic combination of technical failure and the complexities of human psychology, a sobering lesson for aviation that would change cockpit culture forever. After the crash, witnesses along the Mumbai coast reported hearing a loud bang before the plane hit the water. This wasn't the sound of impact, but something that happened mid-air, a possible explosion. Investigators took these accounts seriously, but the black boxes offered no clear evidence of an in-flight blast. The mysterious sound became a focal point for alternative theories. Was it a bomb, a structural failure, or simply the engines at full power in a steep dive? The unexplained noise remains one of the most debated aspects of the tragedy. The official investigation concluded the crash began with the captain's ADI failure, leading to spatial disorientation and loss of control. The report highlighted the lack of assertive crew communication, a critical factor in the disaster. While some suspected sabotage, no evidence of a bomb was found. The mysterious bang was attributed to the sounds of the aircraft's final dive. Yet some experts considered another possibility, an uncontained engine failure. Such a failure could have caused a loud explosion and catastrophic loss of control, but the wreckage was too damaged to confirm this theory. The official cause remained instrument failure and human error. For many, though, the explanation felt incomplete. The Boeing 747's Pratt & Whitney engines were powerful, but not immune to catastrophic failure. An uncontained engine failure, where turbine blades break free, could send shrapnel through vital systems, causing sudden loss of control. This would match witness reports of a loud bang and explain the rapid descent. However, the wreckage was too fragmented to prove this theory. Without clear evidence, the idea of an engine explosion remained speculation. If true, the crew would have been powerless, victims of a mechanical disaster. The official report, however, found no proof of such a failure. The mystery of the bang, and the true sequence of events, remains unresolved. Even accepting instrument failure, questions linger. Why did the ADI fail? Was it a rare malfunction or a deeper design or maintenance flaw? The investigation never found a definitive cause. The crew's response also remains debated. Why didn't they cross-check instruments or intervene more forcefully? The black boxes reveal what happened, but not why experienced aviators failed to break the chain of error. Some believe the cockpit was more chaotic than the data suggests. The limits of technology and human memory leave gaps in the story. The deepest questions about Flight 171 may never be fully answered. Some believe sabotage was to blame, a bomb placed on board, causing the explosion and instrument failure. This theory explains the sudden loss of control and the mysterious bang, but investigators found no evidence of explosives, no group claimed responsibility, and the wreckage showed no signs of a bomb. Still, the idea persists, fueled by unanswered questions and the political climate of the time. Without proof, sabotage remains speculation, a shadow over the official findings. The truth may be less dramatic, but the doubts endure. What's certain is that Flight 171 crashed just 101 seconds after takeoff, killing all 213 on board. The official cause: instrument failure, spatial disorientation, and human error. But the exact reason for the ADI's failure remains unknown. The cockpit's silence, the crew's inaction, and the mysterious bang all leave lingering doubts. The tragedy led to changes in pilot training and crew communication, but some questions will never be answered. The legacy of Emperor Ashoka is both a lesson and a mystery. Even with black boxes and investigations, some truths remain out of reach. The crash is a reminder of aviation's risks and the limits of our understanding. In the end, the full story of Flight 171 may be lost to the sea, its echoes haunting the skies above Mumbai.